that far off. It's like vodka. You know, the taste can't be but in a certain range.
Right.
If it's vodka, it's supposed to taste a certain way. Once you get out of that range, like, I don't know what this is. It's like Smirnoff, you know? You remember the winos used to be out there with that Smirnoff, the little bottle with the brown bag? Mm-hmm. All of them dead.
All right, folks, we're live.
Hey, Shawn, how you doing?
How you doing? I'm good, Onika. How are you?
I'm good.
All right, welcome everybody. Everybody except Talent and Onika. Your mic should be muted. You do have the opportunity to unmute yourself, but we're gonna get this thing started. So we're gonna start it up and rock and roll like we normally do. 3, 2. Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Enough is Enough, SC2020. I'm one of your co-hosts, Shawn Cornelius.
I'm Onika Mclean.
And it's your boy, Talent Harris.
How you
And we are back here again. We are back here again, and we see the folks already here or ready for tonight's discussion. Thank you so much for tuning in weekly and sharing your voices. But tonight, there's no special guest tonight. Tonight, right. We'll get to that in a second, but I got to let the queen, who always starts the show off, ask us about what happened over the weekend. So, Onika, it's your time to be nosy.
What happened over the stock market is going back up. People are, what happened in Baltimore today? That explosion, that was like crazy. Did you guys hear about that?
How many houses was that end up being?
It seemed like it was like 4. I wasn't
4,
sure.
right?
Yeah,
it looked like 3 or 4.
It just seemed like it was like a cluster or something. That was crazy. Black Lives is still mattering in this week. I know that we're still protesting. It's getting a little light, so we got to keep our pedal to the metal. Got to keep doing that. And you want to hear about my personal life? I've been a little frustrated.
That's a hell of a segue.
I'm ready to. I don't even know if I'm ready to go back to the way it was, or I just want somebody to tell me this is how it's gonna be, and let's just move here. Let's just move from here, because trying to figure out how, what's coming back and what's not coming back, and how we need to operate, and Florida with those crazy numbers. Like, what is happening with Florida? They have so many numbers that, we went through that in New York, and now it's a situation where Florida is going through it. How could that be? This was something that was new to us as a country, and then we dealt with it, so we know how to deal with it. So how is it having the reverse effect, which leads me to think this may be another wave coming to us that, so there's just a lot going on. Just let me know what the hell's happening.
You rather know than not know.
Yeah, you're gonna have to wear a mask. You're gonna have to get used to this mask. Here's this face shield. You're gonna have to do. You ain't gonna be able to talk to the same dudes you used to talk to, because if they have halitosis, that's an underlying issue. Like a lot of stuff, I need to know what I can and cannot do. I'm tired of this. This is a lot. You can't mess with nobody's husband. Nothing is the same anymore. Nothing.
You can't mess with anybody's
husband. When I asked you about the weekend, I didn't really mean for you to go that far into your
I'm sorry, guys.
Diary. We could have stopped at Baltimore. We could have been right there. We stopped at Baltimore. But
hold up, Shawn. Once you unleash the beast,
I know
you know what you're working with. You know what you got to deal with. You say, "Here you go," and here she went.
Well, that's why I let her go first. Let her get it out.
Absolutely. First of all, I enjoyed it because you're always entertaining. I only got one simple question I agree with you. Black lives still matter. With that being said, the NBA is back, right? And the WNBA and the NBA are taking huge strides, from the logos and labels on the court to signs to commercials and to the jerseys and uniforms, right? Now, they put different slogans on the back of the uniforms. Black Lives Matter, equal justice, police brutality, just things to remind you of what we're fighting for. Right. Am I the only one that has a problem with a handful of players, the star players at that, who opted out of that? I got a problem with that. I don't feel good about that. Right. You have star players in the NBA that opted out of putting something on their jersey and they just got their regular name, like James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, the key top players, in other words, have opted out of putting a social justice motto on the back.
I wonder if it has something to do with their side endorsement.
endorsement contract and or on that
But
level?
sometimes you can't make political statements and you so.
Oh no, this is NBA, so it has nothing to do with that. The only one I heard address it, and I'm not saying the other ones didn't address it, but LeBron addressed it early on when he said, I'm opting out of that. He said it was a family thing with him. And the last name, what it meant to be on the jersey when he played the game, some promise he made this up or whatever, and what it meant to the family coming from where they come from and making it. Now, I think subconsciously we give LeBron this pass because he's put his money where his mouth is more times than one when it comes to our people and social justice and schooling and all the positive things that we're fighting for. So we kind of give him a pass, but then I kind of don't, because although I appreciate that, and that's huge, and I can't discount that, I still just think it just rubs me a certain way to know that we've got the whole leagues to come this far.
Right.
This is a huge leap for a big league like the NBA and the WNBA to come this far to the point where the hardwood floor says Black Lives Matter.
Right. But he still has a choice, and he still should always be given.
I just don't like the choice.
Right. You're not going to like everybody's choice, but you have to defend the right that they have that choice to make, because that's the thing. Our choices are taken away from us so much in society, just trying to be a Black man. You can't go down. Your choices are being dismantled. So for him to make the choice, you just got to respect it and move on. And that's like so dope that he is able to speak to his own truth, and it's not going to be socially acceptable, but he was able to speak to his own truth. I respect him for it.
What'd you think, Shawn?
Well, I mean, again, he has been one of the ones to step up and use his platform, because remember when they did the ESPY Awards with him, Dwayne Wade, I forgot who else it was, Kevin Durant, they went out and made that conversation about this whole thing. I think it was last year, the year before. So he does, it's not like he doesn't stand up and have a conversation about, where the position he's in to address these issues. And you know what I mean? So where do we okay, he did this, so we'll get, like you said, give him a pass on this, because he's not silent. He's not totally silent.
No, he's not silent. And that's what I think. I think the meat in the middle is all the things that he's done. And he's not one of the guys that, don't get me wrong, I'm not mad. I feel a certain way about it. What I am mad about is when you see 29 of the 30 players on their knees and then one dude standing up.
Right.
That kind of make you mad. Who's that guy? Who told him to do that?
But that's good, because at least you know what you're dealing with, right?
Yeah.
If everybody stand up, you know who sat down.
Right.
So
and again, it is like you said, it's their choice, it's their option, it's their freedom, but it does make you think a little bit about
Yeah, it's just weird to me, but that's all I thought about this weekend.
Just like the Black Republicans, and you're like, well, how could they be jumping up and down like that? But what it is oftentimes is their military. They fought in the wars and that kind of thing, and they feel like they are Americans, and people are of other, that's not Americans, Mexicans or, people from wherever they are in the world are coming and taking their jobs and that. They still have that same mentality, because this guy I work with is a Black Republican, and you would never think that, like, the way he thinks is he feels that somebody's going to take his place, take his children's place. They're taking their jobs. How my kid has to go to school and I have to pay for all this, education, and then they still don't get a job. They need to get it going in their own countries. These are Black people saying this, and that's how they feel. It's the same mindset. You just say, okay.
Well, listen, I'm going to take a turn and jump on this. First of all, I want to give a shout out to folks that are watching us streaming on Facebook, because they're making comments, but we just can't see their comments. And they're out there rebel rousing, talking about we're here too. So comedian figures out there, Shawn May, South Carolina's in the house. And I don't know if you guys can see me, because Fig said he can't see me. Am I hiding?
You know what? Let me go ahead. I'm gonna try to get Fig inside. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah. So what we want to do this week we don't have a special guest. You all on the panel are the special guests for this week, and our conversation is here comes Quincy. Our conversation for this week is about parenting, because we basically ended off our last week's conversation discussing some things that might deal with the youth and the generations. And we started talking about parenting, old school parenting or new school parenting, which is better, or is one better than the other. So we wanted to bring you guys on the floor this week and allow you to have this discussion with us, because I believe everybody that's here is a parent, basically has children. So we really want your communication, your thought process on this topic as we keep rolling. One of the things, as my co-host Onika says, mute yourself, unmute yourself, and only take like a minute or so to get your point, comment, because we have a lot of people in that might want to say something and want to get everybody an opportunity to speak. So if you have a comment, question, keep it to a minute and a half or so, and then we'll discuss it and keep it moving. We first want to thank you all again for joining us and supporting this platform. So let's get it rocking and rolling. I saw a few people moving in their screens and mouthing. I don't know if they were agreeing or talking.
Or we want them to talk about their experiences at homeschooling, or just
we're going to kick it off because basically, is old school parenting better than new school parenting? What are the advantages or disadvantages? Because we came up through the old school.
Oh, you mean like taking cord and getting beat down, and you better not pick up the phone, or you're gonna get hit in the head with it?
Sounds like your weekend.
Saying stuff like you look just like your father. You be like, I should. He is my father, right? Like that, that. Or
why you say old school parents? She go right to the beating.
Right.
Old school
Abuse.
Yes.
So basically, what we want to do is we're gonna kick it off, and we'll just toss some things around and have conversations about it, because it can be good. It can be good. So Onika, you brought it up. So you started with the beatings and stuff. That wasn't really the topic.
Let's talk about beatings, right?
So yeah, I mean, that's spare the rod, spoil the child wasn't something they did back in the day. You understand?
Hey, can I interject one thing? Can I say one thing?
Sure.
Hi, Quincy.
How you doing? I heard that your Wi-Fi was working last week, but this week you go.
You know why? Because you came.
My Wi-Fi or is it your Wi-Fi?
Because you came back. That's why.
Y'all got a shared plan. Y'all got a shared plan. This is the problem with y'all. Y'all got
too many T-shirts hanging in the back. How much that advertisement?
You can see the T-shirts. You can see them. Watch.
We know you got a beating. We know you had a beating. We can tell you probably still getting beaten.
And
you probably get a woman and be like, you got a belt. You want to
Nika, I know what to do. I just did. He quiet now. I know how to treat children.
Look at Quincy. He's like, oh, we talking about beatings. Shawn, I think I want a beating. Is that what happened? Look at you can't get beaten. And now it's called S&M. That's different. We talk about when you were a kid.
All right, listen, let's stay out of your bedroom, please. Let's stay out of your house. This is why I knew. Because he don't like to get quiet. So listen.
Quincy, stuck again.
Start the conversation. That's all.
Okay. Corporal punishment. Look, Talent always want us to be like politically correct. Corporal punishment. Are you for it or against it? Please chime in, guys.
I couldn't call it corporate punishment. I believe in ass whippings. For real. Yeah, because ass whippings just kept you in line. Like talking to ain't gonna work sometimes on some kids. And I think that the approach needs to be taken according to the child. Because some kids can't stand you taking away their electronics or taking away, like my daughter was a phone chick, a iPad chick or whatever. So I don't have to whoop her a lot or give her spankings or whatever. I took away the shit that she loved. And that was more torture for her to not have her gadgets versus me. Because a whooping with her, she'll get a whooping, but I'm good now. I can go back to doing whatever I'm doing. But if I said 5 days no internet or 5 days no this, then I saw a change. So that worked. But in my age, hey, I'm almost 48. My mom whooped ass. That just it. She whooped ass. She whooped ass and took names.
But did she use something? What did she use?
My mama used a belt, a switch, an ironing cord, a track. You remember them Hot Wheel tracks?
Hot Wheel track. Who beat somebody with a Hot Wheel track? See?
My mother did. My mother used at one point she got those sticks, them paint stirrer sticks. and like tape like 5 of them together.
You went to Home Depot and got paint stars. They had Home Depots in the 70s.
Hey, Anna, you went to counseling, didn't you?
No, it's Shawn Williams. Shawn Williams back there.
Oh, they had Shawn Williams. Right.
Yeah, she used to go there, get them paint sticks, get that gray tape, wrap it around, and that's it. That's all. So
Your
I
mama
believe in
creative.
both. But like I said, I'm gonna wrap my comment up. I just think whatever works for that individual child. All kids ain't the same. They don't need the same discipline.
Right.
Just you pick it according to the kid.
Right.
But that's what I always say. We can't broad stroke it. It got to go, case by case to the individual. But to her point, we can do stuff like take things away. It works now, but you got to keep in mind, we had less. So they have way more than we had as a kid. Mm-hmm. So taking stuff away means more now. If I say no Xbox, and Quincy knows, one time I had to discipline my oldest son, I had to throw that damn Xbox off the top terrace and break it on the driveway ground because this is how serious I was about you passing this grade.
Onika scared me too. I thought I was gonna get a whooping too.
Yeah, they got Xbox, they got the Wi-Fi, they got the cell phone. These kids are kids with $1,000 gadgets.
With grown people gadgets. That's a fact.
Because all we couldn't do was go outside. They was like, you ain't going outside. Well, damn, that ruins my life.
Yeah, that was a big thing. I can't go outside.
Yeah, going outside.
I think the problem is society has stepped into the homes in different aspects. So where we would get a whooping, and if you told anybody outside the house, that was another ass whooping, another one. Right. So now society has stepped in with phone numbers on commercials during cartoons. If y'all pay attention, during kids shows, they got the 1-800 number going. You got teachers at school being in your business. Yeah. So at the end of the day, they stepped into the homes. They taken God out of church and church out of the schools, and they've done all those things. So now what happens is the kids can kind of do what they want to do. And then when you try to discipline them, they go to school and tell and yell. Now you got these CPS people at the door talking about, let me look in your house.
Right.
Do we think that was effective? So
no, it made the Black household worse.
Right. Beatings, you mean?
No, I'm talking about society coming in saying you can't do. Okay. So now that we can't whoop like we used to get whoopings, like real whoopings, stuff thrown at you. You had the fear of God of your people in you. Now, these kids don't really have it. They're running their households right now.
Not afraid. Yeah. So that was the next question. Do you feel that you need fear to parent?
Oh, yeah. You do.
A certain level of fear, definitely, most definitely.
Fear and respect.
But fear, why? Why do we need fear?
Because what happens is there was a time where you used to feel a certain way if you let your parent down, or if your parent about to get called from the school or anything, an embarrassment, those kind of things made that fear real. Mm-hmm. So now the fear sometimes was worse than the actual whooping itself. That walk down the street knowing that teacher called home, that's crazy. That's crazy right there. Like, you try to talk to everybody you didn't talk to before. She on the porch looking around the corner like, all right, it's gonna be crazy when you get in here. Keep checking this on.
My teacher took a safety pin and pin a note. I used to be like, get this shoe.
Yeah, they would pin the note to your clothes so your mama see that note.
See how responsible we was as kids when we actually went home with that note. Imagine giving these new kids a note right now.
Oh yeah, that ain't
imagine.
Right.
But I think one of the things that y'all mentioned about fear, which also was huge for us back then, is like you said, it was in your mind, trying to figure out how deep this thing was, because back when we was kids too, you also had the community was a village, so you could get beatings from everybody. You could get beatings from your neighbor, you can get beatings from everybody up until you got home, and for a lot of us, that was scary enough all by itself. So I think that. That's probably why, so many of us thought that fear was such a strong, powerful thing back then. Right. Now, you don't necessarily have that. And what you have is, this sense of, I'll give a kid a timeout, or I'll talk to them. And it's cool, you want to, have that, broach that gap. But the problem is, most of these kids are way smarter than we are too, because now they have technology. so they can go up and look up things that we couldn't look up. The number one saying we had growing up was because I said so. Remember that one? And that was it. Because I said so.
But you know what? What they say oftentimes is if you're preparing your child for, you know, the workforce, you can't have them afraid because their counterparts assert this privilege that they think that everything is due to them. And if you have your child afraid to say stuff and to speak up for themselves, then when they come to that workplace, then they're subservient to another child that wasn't raised like that. So how do we balance that?
Wow. Well, you know, I think that's first and foremost, that's a great point. But I think, you know, one of the ways to counter that is we have to go back to also just doing a great job of talking to our children in general. One of the real caveats and one of the real problems that we have as a community is we don't talk to our children. And I mean just regular everyday conversation. I'm not talking about when they do something special. I'm not talking about, you know, when they're doing great. I'm talking about, hey, come here, let me see you. What you got on? You remember those days when you couldn't get out your house with your friend's clothes on because your mama, hey, I didn't buy that for you. Come here. Get that back. We don't do that in here. We don't have that anymore. So kids are getting away with this ability to not have a real relationship with their parents, where your parents check everything that you do. They know who your friends are. They really, you know, bridge that gap. We don't have that. We've lost that, and we've lost the ability to continue to have that. So without that, we really are lost because now kids think they can say anything they want to say. Remember, as a kid, even if
wait, one more thing. What part of 1 minute didn't you get?
I'm sorry. Let's take it away. I can go on and on. So y'all go ahead. Everybody jump on it.
No, but you made a lot of sense. And again, I think it goes back to a point Quincy made. He touched on something when he said the fact that the community is taken over by the government changed a lot of things. Mm-hmm. So your village disappears because that fear of, there was no fear. When you had a village raising a child, you knew that if you got in trouble, every adult, you know, that knew your mother or father or grandparents had a right to reprimand you as well. Right. And when the government stepped in to scare the actual parent from reprimanding. So guess what? Everybody attached to the parent is scared to reprimand. And the kids are at the point now where they have no problem verbalizing, I'll call the people on you.
And you better not touch me. Yeah.
So now we're talking about the fear factor. The fear factor have shifted from the child afraid of the parent to the parent afraid of the damn child.
How crazy is that?
Somebody say amen.
Amen, brother.
Alan, are you on? I see you here. Are you? You want to chime in? Because I think that was a good amen, Talent. You're right. We're afraid of the kids. We're afraid of the kids.
Well, some of us are.
Well, some of us are afraid of the kids.
Well, these parents.
If some of these kids catch you in the dark alley, you should be afraid because some of them are angry, like really, really angry.
And I'm
right about now. Everybody's angry right about now.
I'm gonna say something.
Your bones don't heal the same, is what I'm saying. You're not 24.
Oh, you're right about that.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna touch a nerve, though, to some of the people in the room. So I'll put that disclaimer out first. The next issue is there's a lot more single parent homes today than it was yesterday. So now you have mothers who don't take the titty out of the boy's or girl's mouth at a certain age. And what happens is when you try to discipline as an outside of the home father, you get resistance from the mom, which trickles to the kid, because if the mom is on the kid's side, guess what happens? The kid gonna rebut to you now because mom is on their side. So there's a lot of intertwine in there, of, you know what I mean, when it comes to the kids and who they're afraid of and who they're not. And then the mothers turn into their friends, and then the fathers, we are looked at as bad guys when we try to discipline. That gets tough.
Yeah.
Well, that's the worst thing a parent can do is become the friend.
But they doing it every day.
At what age? Because at a certain point, I'm checked out.
Well, I mean, when your children are not children, absolutely you could be the friend. But when you're in the raising process, this can be a detriment to both sides of the relationship.
Right.
You are not supposed to be, my mother, please. I mean, nowadays, here's the problem. how many times we go to an event or function or party, and the mother and the daughter end up at the same damn party?
Yeah.
It didn't
Or the
happen.
father and the son. Like, you gotta understand something.
Because the age gap is so short. Like my mother's
If
like
you're 21 and she's 49,
That's short.
you still shouldn't be in the same party.
It ain't that short. You still got, let's say 14, 15, 16 years on your kid. You shouldn't be in the same party.
I know I told my mother that, but it was her car, and she said that we couldn't take the car unless she came with us. And I said, this is inappropriate. You should not be with my friends. And okay, y'all right.
So that's where there's a few disconnects there that happens with
I
that.
wish I was lying, but I'm not.
I hope we're helping you. I hope this is helping you.
No, I'm about to cry, and I put these fake eyelashes on just because I didn't get dressed last
You
week.
be wearing them shark fins now.
Fake. Fake. Are you trying to come in and talk fake?
Yeah.
So come on, brother.
Come on,
But
Phil.
now,
Unmute yourself.
Oh, is that
but to
fit?
go, but to go back to that, let's stay on that because there's something there.
Mhm.
Like the family structure is probably the number one reasoning for what we consider these kids being out of control.
Yeah.
Because that has a lot to do with the disconnect.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a disconnect that there's no more village. The village is dissipated, right? So now it's
Right.
more parent on kid control, if anything. But here's the problem. And this is why we need equality across the board. This is where this whole protesting comes in at. When things are off balance and off center and there's no balance, you have a generation of parents, young parents, that they're more prone to have 3 jobs than 1 career. So what happens is when you are forced to have 3 jobs as opposed to a career, you're forced to use up all your time working damn near. The average time really spent with a parent and a child nowadays is under 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
You're talking about really 3.5 hours that you actually have mano a mano time with your child these days. You're talking about by the time they wake up, get ready, go to school, to you going to the job, you might see them after they go to an extracurricular after school, get home, do a little homework, it's time to watch a little TV, dinner, clean up, go back to bed.
Yeah. That's true.
You're talking about an hour, 2 tops from the morning time and the evening time. So that's 4 hours or less out of 24 hours that you are around your child 5 or 6 days a week.
And what are you putting
on
in?
their peers more?
And what are you
That's
putting
what
in them?
influences
They're around social media more, actually.
But that's what I'm saying. We leaving everything else to raise them at that point.
Yeah.
Right. That's right.
Social media, peer pressure,
Mhm.
you know, the block. Their parents become all these other things. The teacher, the counselor, whoever is teaching the extracurricular, God forbid they're in detention, you know, the bus driver. Like, you know, all of these these are the elders, the people of age that are around your child the other 20 hours.
The other 20.
You take away 6, 7 hours of sleep, they got more time than you and sleep together.
And then we say, who are you? Because it's true. Because then they get to a certain age and you're like, who is this person? Who is this person? How do they think like that? It's true. You have to. That's what
You know what? I'm gonna chime in right here a little bit if y'all mind. I think what happened was there was a time when young ladies started having children, like teenage babies. And you know, the teenagers, when you have a child, you don't know enough to teach nobody anything.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where young ladies didn't want nobody chastising their child. And that's how we actually lost the village. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, there was one, like we said, there was one time where anybody could chastise your child. And then we got to the point where, you know, where somebody would chastise your child and you'd go down there and be like, what are you doing chastising my child? And y'all end up getting into a fight. And we sort of lost the community and we lost the village. And when I was coming up, the parents knew each other and the parents, you know, they were pretty much on the same page. Everybody had the same mindset. But then you started having like people with different mindsets and they really wasn't a part of the village. You know what I mean? And you couldn't have everybody.
What about drugs? What about drugs? I think that drugs had a lot to do with the breakdown of the Black community, because we're talking about, think about it, we're talking about the 60s, and people have been having children since 12 years old. Young people have children since the beginning of time, young. You know, my grandmother had started having babies at 14 years old. They get married, they have all these kids, and they work the farm. So I don't think it's about the youth of the, I just
back
think it's the mindset.
back then, we was at a time where the kids wasn't on their own. You know what I mean? We had there was a time where you had 3 or 4 generations in the same household.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was the difference when people, you know, when you start having babies and you out on your own, you know what I mean? Now what you gonna teach them? You ain't got big mama in the house. Ain't but where's grandmama? You know, now everybody on their own. You know what I mean? And
no, he got a good point there. That is a fact, Fig. That is a fact that generationally it was different. Like you had generations together, and yeah, you were young having kids, but you had all the support thing. But another question, Fig, are you in jail?
What the fuck?
Look at Fig.
He looked like he in the rack, right?
I knew it was coming. You could feel the build
He
up.
looked like he Adabishi is behind you to the left, Fig. Watch out. Adabishi, remember?
If anything, he looked like a CNA right now in the line.
All right, yeah. Now y'all know we ain't gonna do no snapping.
Okay,
I
just had to do that. It was wide open.
I don't want to get me to snap.
Take control of your show. Mute all these mother.
No, it was alley-oop. I had to do that. But no, all jokes aside, Fig, you're exactly right about that generation thing, and that's a great point because once and Onika has a great point with the drugs as well because there was a tear down of the family structure. I want to say started right after the civil rights movement. Right, we made these strides during civil rights, and then right after that, in those 70s, those drugs flooded the communities.
You know what they
did? Those drugs, and we went drug after drug after drug. So you got to realize we're talking 4 generations.
But listen, you know what else they did? Some of that was by design. What they did was
most of it was by design.
When they figured out that the Black family structure was the one who was supporting the civil rights movement. What they did is they started taking away a lot of those factory jobs out of the community, and dad couldn't work. And then they flipped around and told mom, well, if you kick dad out the house, we put you on welfare, make your rent cheap.
That was the new deal.
That was just mom and kids, and ain't no dad in the house.
That's right. That was part of the plan.
Yep. So here's the question. How what's the solution? Is there a solution? Because we know where society's going now. Is there a solution to get it back like it was or to get it under control?
Yeah, we said that in the beginning. We got to whoop more ass.
No. What we have to do is we have to include these kids in the conversation.
No more Xbox.
We have to show them that we can be extinct because of all these things that's coming against our communities, and they have a duty. They have a duty to be a part of the village. We need to include these kids.
Let me ask you, I'm sorry. Talent, even though in Jeff said that, but how do you go back to that where we got away from it if the parents are afraid to approach the kids on any level? Especially now, the parents aren't doing that whole thing. How do you get back?
First of all, what we have to do is, and when we know better, so we do better, right? So it doesn't have to go all the way back to as drastic as us, everybody in their 40s and 50s, we lived through a time that could have got real drastic. We don't have to go all the way back to drastic, but we can get back to the tip part of the discipline that we used to do. And we used to, imply in situation to situation. Like the brother said before, it's case by case. So it don't just mean blanket, let's just go start whooping ass and everything's going to change. It don't work like that.
I don't think
we start to monitoring our children and our family situations and what it is. And that's not going to happen in these days and times. Here's the trick. The trick is we have a lot of redesigning and training we have to do in our own brains. Right. We have to get our people to understand that taking our problems outside to talk to people is not a bad thing. You get an outside opinion because we're cloudy inside the bubble. When you have 2 people arguing, they're only going to come to so much of an understanding of what each is arguing about because they're fighting within the cloudiness. But the person who sits down and hears the problem can say this, see A and B, and go, you know what? Just like I did with the conversation with Fig and Onika, you have a good point with this. You have a great point with this. Is that there was no right or wrong there. There was no disagreement there. But if nobody ever points that out that is non-biased, then nobody's going to see that. You can't see from the inside. I think the beginning of training ourselves is to start things like that back, so that imagine if you and your kid, while they're growing up, you got a child that becomes a problem child at 10, 11 years old. Why can't you guys go sit down and put these problems to a professional and figure out common ground and where that disconnect is coming from? Why this kid doesn't want to listen to you and is doing these problem things? And then maybe the kid is reaching out and you're not hearing it too. But I think that we need to talk.
But you know what?
The thing is, though, we have always been like raised or in that box where Black folks don't go to counseling.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying back then when we had the don't ask, don't tell, like what goes on in this house stays in this house type of mentality. We were like, we got God. We don't need no therapist. That's the generational thing that Black mothers normally pass down. So like now in this age, of course, Black people go get help or whatever. But we was like, we pray about this. So that's the thing that that's what we were stuck in.
No, I agree with you on that. We agree on that. But what I'm saying is, when he asked me, how can we fix it and get better? Things like that, we have to change. This is what we got to realize, man. Times change. Yeah. And if you don't change with times, your ass get left behind. There's no one man bigger than time. Time is part of Father God. And there's nothing you can do to beat time. As times change, you have to adapt. Yeah. And I think our people, it's been time, but we now have to see in 2020 and beyond, it's not a taboo to talk to people. I know my grandmother didn't, and I know her grandmother didn't, but you know what? Now, because we're dealing with different issues, you know what else my grandmother didn't have to deal with? Uzis in the street.
Right, but you know what? What I think, I think that what we need to do is we need to implement family meetings. Everyone should have a time to talk, not where, because everything is, going haywire, but once every 2 weeks on a Thursday night, like people are like implementing family game nights and things like that. It's just getting back to the core, but having a meeting, just like this is our corporation, this is our family, and I want to know what's going on with you. I let you know what's going on with me without all the emotion, and have real conversations about what is expected, what should happen, what we want to happen. I read this book a long time ago because I was a single mom and I was raising my children.
Onika, is that you reading?
He's so damn stupid.
They don't have them in jail. Books. Okay, anyway, right? So, and it's this book called 1, 2, 3 Magic, right? And I read it, and it was just like talking about a different discipline, like letting the kid know exactly what's the expectation, what's going to happen if those expectations are not being met, giving them a chance to talk about what the expectations are, why they're being implemented, and have a conversation and then go forward. And one of the tips was have family meeting. Like there has to be a time where everybody get to talk, because what happens is the children, even if you don't have a problem kid, sometimes they have a lot of turmoil going on inside of them and they can't say anything, and then they just erupt and you're like, what the hell happened to him? Right? Because he's been holding this all this time. And I think that talking, because going to
Onika, that used to be Sunday dinner.
Right.
Yes.
They used to call that Sunday dinner.
With no phone,
Sunday dinner.
Concussions.
Again, it's been dissipated. That's part of the village. Every tribe in the village had Sunday dinner. Your ass was home for Sunday. You know what? The whole family was in there. Y'all talked about everything from the sun to the moon.
Mom,
what was going on in his school?
Mom, why would you have Sunday dinner, Mom?
Let me pause you for a second. Because I get a comment from a couple of other ladies if they'd like to, Deb and or Denise and or Carla, because obviously we have them here, and we're talking about our experiences and our situations, but I'd like to see if they would like to discuss their situations and, conversations on the family life and beatings.
Share, Denise. Denise.
Well, Deb
Hold
and
on,
Hey,
I just
this is
unmuted myself.
Deb's here. I'm unmuted now.
you
I
guys
think
have
I
been listening to
unmuted
the whole
myself.
We've been listening to the whole conversation, and
Okay.
like you know, put in your ones and twos.
All right.
Dawn, you
I
faded
came,
in.
okay, I came in late. So what I've heard so far is similar, not the same of similar, but not the same of how we were brought up. Yes, the discipline. I heard things about she would grab whatever was my mom would grab whatever was in front of her.
Right.
Whether it be the slipper, this or that, and you do one of these because she was a little shorter than me, and it was over. But if my father, because my dad, we were not hit that much, but be real clear, if my dad stood up and all you had to do was motion that he was going to take his belt off, you stopped what you were doing.
The fear.
It was just that whole fear factor that it was coming from my dad, that type of thing. I heard that. Then the Sunday dinner, I have an Italian Greek background. We, till this day, I mean, I try to do as much family time as much as possible, pick up where my mom, she passed. So I try to do as many things like how we were brought up. It doesn't always work because now everybody's doing their own thing, running here and there. But it is nice to sit and have some family time. Even it doesn't even have to be a Sunday. Every now and then I'll say, guys, phones down. How was your day? What did you do? And it works for a while, but then everybody kind of gets drifted in, the whole electronics and all that stuff. And I'm pretty much the last one at the table at night because they eat quick and they got to go, but that, it's all good. But yeah, I mean, I don't, like I said, I came in late. So I'm pulling off of what I've heard. So what did I miss that I should comment on?
No, we were just
Maybe
talking.
Deb can pick it up and share. Deb, you can share because you've been here the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things that I heard was families being able to seek counseling for their kids and their families when they're having problems. And I don't think there's enough resource for families who don't have health insurance to be able to do that.
The kids.
Exactly. If you have to choose between putting food on the table and taking your kid to therapy, what are you going to do?
Right.
So I think it's hard for me because I'm really involved in my grandchildren's lives now because I don't like the way they're being parented. So I try to be the buffer. The kids need someone they can trust, someone they can tell secrets to.
Yeah.
They need someone that, and I don't tell their secrets unless it's something that can hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we as grown-ups need to advocate for as many children as we can and just try to be there for them. Right. So many kids have parents who are, either one parent in jail and a mom who's working 3 or 4 jobs, or, 2 parents who do drugs. And it's hard for kids these days and they don't know where to turn. So I think that if you see a kid in trouble, you need to do what you can, make yourself be open.
I've heard this a lot, and you can answer. I've heard parents say, "Are they lost? Is this generation lost?"
No.
Done.
No.
Definitely lost.
No.
They know more lost than we were.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that kids these days, now mind you, I have grandkids that run an age from 9 to 22. So all of them, well, maybe one of them, all of them except for one is very ambitious. And I mean, my 20-year-old granddaughter already owns a home. And so, I mean, it's hard because it's different for us white folks. But I do know that we have to be there for the kids to help them through and teach them the real things in life that they're not being taught, finances and how to apply for a loan. And, I think that kids need to know those real life things, and they're not being taught that anywhere.
But they don't trust. I think that I agree with that, Deb. Like, but kids want to do it their way. Oftentimes you try to tell them stuff. I know with my daughters, I'm like, you shouldn't sign that. That's a contract. That's legally binding. I'm grown. I'm gonna do what I want to do. Okay, well, mom, what happened? Right. I've lived. I wouldn't tell you anything wrong, but just in their quest to try to be adults, sometimes it's hard to counsel.
They're going to have to find their own way, just like
they
shouldn't.
They have to make mistakes.
They shouldn't have. I agree. They shouldn't have to. And honestly, I learned a lot from people around me in terms of the drug thing and that whole scene. I had one of my best friends die in my arms from drugs, so that taught me a lesson. When I was really getting into that, I learned I don't want to do that. I don't want to go out like that. I think one of the things that we can connect with the kids is the movement. We went through a movement and they've got a movement. So we should be able to compare notes. And we were able to make some strides that we all have benefited from that first movement. And they obviously have taken it to a new level with where they have gone. And we should be able to compare notes, sit down and talk about those things, because that's something that we can connect with that's relative to all of us, because a lot of things that are happening now are the same things that are happening back when we were fighting for, Ladies
and gentlemen, we can't give the kids an out like that. They have way more resources at their fingertips than we've ever had at that age bracket. Keep in mind, we had to go in a basement car catalog, look the book up, go 3 more flights back up, and then find out the book's not there. They have Google. Reason I say they're lost and we're not is because we came through a moment where we had to actually do the work. The work is at their fingertips on a phone right here. We didn't have a phone. I had a burner phone in college that I paid $100 a month for. Remember that, T? And I can call you till it burn out. But that's the only thing we had outside of actually doing the work. They have everything at their fingertips to do the work. I just think they're lazy and don't want to do it.
I don't know if it's a lazy.
I think society has made it that way. They've made us all lazy.
Nonetheless.
But they made us all lazy. You don't even like clean your house. Nobody wants to cook. Like society has said, I'm going to do everything for you. You just operate.
But also as parents, we've done that as well. So many of us, I hear, parents all the time, especially when you have conversations, with your peers, they say things like, I want my kids to have more than I have. And I always smile and laugh about that, because I always think to myself, was things that bad? Because it taught us how to cook, it taught us how to clean, it taught us how to paint, it taught us how to do floors. We have all kinds of skill sets that, yes, our kids don't have, but that's because we never challenged them. We got challenged by our parents. We got challenged by, society.
But we have subservient skill sets also. Like if you think about it, if our kids are going to this whole white privilege mindset, our kids think that they have a privilege as well. And that's probably one of the reasons why we have this new movement, because these kids are like, I don't have to do that. I need to be treated the same way that everybody else is being treated. My parents kiss my butt, so you better be kissing my butt too. Our kids have a privilege that we didn't have, that we didn't assert. So there's a give and take. You don't agree?
No, there is. I agree.
You know what I say is, I think a part of that is just the fact, like what Q was saying. But I think it's just basically we reached a new age. It's technology. Like our parents used to say the same thing to us. Man, I had it so hard. You guys got it easy. We having the exact same conversation about our kids because technology basically that's what it is. They do have things easier. You know what I mean? So what are we going to do? We're going to go back to the horse and buggy days. We're going to teach them the Dewey Decimal System. We're going to get them the old typewriters. I mean,
you gotta meet them where they are. Right. And we got to help them.
It is.
Hey, I'm going to say this, Faye. Do you realize this, that the average kid, I want to say 50% in and out of the urban community, they learn how to type on a cell phone? They didn't have typing class with us. They don't have a laptop at home. Not that they don't want to have a laptop, but because the phone is more convenient because they can do everything with it.
But so do we.
You know, they don't
We have the same benefits, though.
Like, so I can do almost everything on my phone that I can do on my laptop at home.
Right.
A phone, it ain't even a phone no more. It's a phone. It's a
computer.
Craig.
It's your apartment.
Craig, we need to get together then because I don't know how to operate my phone apparently. Because
you know what, the 3-year.
I don't know how to do all that on my phone.
Well, first of all, you're gonna need 2 hands. You can't be holding the pooch.
You can't be holding your poodle.
Hey, the dog is paying attention to everybody.
Look at that dog. That dog is privileged as shit. Look at that dog. That dog got a lot of you people on this live.
This is Jasmine. This is my Yorkie.
Look at that dog. That dog
got a real kid name too.
Her name is Jasmine.
That dog living better than a lot of people. Let me see the bed. The dog got an outfit.
No, she don't have no clothes on today.
Today.
Not today. Not today.
All right.
So if the mama can have a Yorkie with the claw, I mean, I have a little dog too. I ain't judging because I do the same shit. But I'm just saying the kids are gonna have a privilege. They're gonna have a privilege. But what we're talking about is how do we meet these kids where they are and help them? Because somebody raised us and we're raising them, but it seems like they kind of raising themselves.
Right. Society is now allowing us. We can go as hard as we want to. We're competing with so much outside friction.
Social media.
A lot of white noise going on.
Social media is oh my God.
What do we do?
All right, I just muted everybody. It's been a great conversation. You can unmute yourself at any point, but we're now at 9:25 and we can carry on this conversation like the past couple of weeks with other conversations. And but I appreciate everybody's, we all appreciate everybody's communication and you coming through and supporting. We just have to do the best we can. There's really no one specific answer. Everybody gave great solutions, but there's no one specific answer that's going to change it or make it any better. There's a combination of things that we must do. And you can sit down and communicate. What did you do when your son, or what did you do when your daughter, you know what I mean? And communicate like the village did before. Maybe we can do or help, like Deb said. She's focusing on grandkids. You know, somebody got to focus on the grandkids. You know, if the parent's not doing proper, then there's no guidance. So somebody got to step in and get that next generation a little bit under control. And I think just to kind of comment with Quince is right. I mean, they got a lot of things that are good, but come with every generation, they have complications as well. You know, so for them to have all the things they have, there comes challenges with that. And they're just not, some of them are not prepared as we talk. So this has been great. This has been fantastic. And I'd like to thank everybody for coming through in this conversation, this dialogue again. And next week, we're going to do it all over again. But next week, we're going to have, the topic will be comedians with platforms. So we know comedians who have platforms. They're not just funny people. They have things that they're saying and they're trying to say and they want to say. So we're going to gather up a few comics, and I'm not sure how it's going to go. I'm sure I know how it's going to go, but we're going to come in and we're going to discuss some of their platforms, because this is what we need to do. We need to keep dialoguing and communicating with each other and to help. I mean, it's really been worth it. So co-hosts, final word, Talent.
I just want to shout out everybody for joining another fantastic Monday, and shout out the screenshots and savers, like everybody coming in looking different. Amir is straight out of heaven. Blacksmith is broadcasting from another planet. Fig, I got a package coming to the penitentiary for you. Just hang tight, brother. I'm gonna put some money on your books. You know what I mean? Like, Fig got tired of that shit.
He's trying to show his square footage. He's trying to show his square footage. Listen. Okay.
Yeah, Fig got tired of that shit. I'm done.
Show you these wood floors in my TV stand.
Onika, final word.
We got to talk. Enough is enough. We have to talk. And the thing about it is most people don't want to talk to their children because they don't want to hear what their children have to say to them. Be open, be receptive. Let's have a conversation. Let's get better people. Let's heal.
Old school, new school, We just got to make sure we keep school. That's all. We got to make sure we keep school, no matter if it's old school or new school. So I thank you guys again. This has been streaming on Facebook, and we've been getting a lot of support with it. So please go share it. Let's communicate and come back and do it all again next week.
Peace.
God bless each and every one of you. Have a fantastic week. Much love.
Got it, bro.
Wait, I tried to dress up. I tried to dress up. I just put this thing around my neck.
Oh, you did wrap a cloth around your neck. You about dressed up? Are we going into the bonus coverage again with you? You want to get some more in again? I got to edit you out again.
My neck is hot as hell in here. I got to, because my air conditioner is loud, so I got to sit up here in this hot. Okay, sorry. Never mind.
We did it. Listen, God bless. Good night. You'll see this. Take care. Love you.